Hey everybody, welcome to Big Brother Canada 6th third eviction recap. Ben, how are you?
I'm doing good, getting off a crazy week of Big Brother
Yes,
Canada.
and I think we can all finally appreciate how great I am at predicting things.
Yeah, I mean, I took credit on Twitter for predicting that Hamza's real original plan was to backdoor Ryan, but you were playing 5D chess over here, seeing that like 14 different dominoes were going to fall down, and that Jesse was going to be the one who ended up getting evicted eventually.
Yeah, people might refer to me as woke as hell, um, because that's what I was this week. Just woke as hell, okay, so obviously I just threw that out as a complete guess, and I didn't expect it to come through. My only rationale behind it initially was Hamza seems like the type of guy who would make a big move for big move's sake, and I was like, I could potentially see him just targeting Jesse for this. Jenny in the chat, good morning.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's perfectly reasonable to think that, but I mean, you're also trying to predict what Hamza is going to be doing, and Hamza is like an insane person with no like connection to reality at all. So
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, you were saying that he's a complete wild card when we were texting yesterday, and that's just such a perfect way to describe him. He's a complete loose cannon. You can't control him. You can only hope to contain him. And it's not even like a loose cannon in a way where you can like, oh, I can kind of see where he's going with this. He's just like, what the hell? What are you doing, man? Why is this a good idea?
well, you can kind of see where he's coming if you realize that he doesn't want to win. His goal is to play in and win as many competitions as possible, make big moves so he can be a big TV character, and then go out pre-jury so we can go hang out with his fiance.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, on the right track.
That is a stated goal. Yeah, he's definitely doing a very good job. Actually, a lot of people like him and are not planning on getting rid of him anytime soon. So he's actually doing a very bad job of getting evicted pre-jury.
So what you're saying is he's going to accidentally back into a win here.
I think it's possible, but he's very much he's possibly one of the worst Big Brother players I've ever seen.
Where would you put him in, like, kind of like a modern example of a Big Brother player who's as bad as he is right now?
Well, it's difficult because most bad Big Brother players are legitimately bad because like they're actively trying to win in like a bad way, whereas like Hamza's like actively trying to not win the game.
Right.
So like it's very difficult to kind of categorize him. I don't really think there's many other players that have been like him. Maybe like a likable Jeremy Maguire.
Yeah, that's not who you want to be compared to, if we're being honest.
Yeah, like he's just as big of an a-hole as Jeremy Maguire is, but people like think it's endearing.
Right. I mean, yeah, all perspective, right?
Right. Yeah, we can talk about like stuff that happened yesterday as like an example, but we should probably get into last week first.
The week that just came. So
right, the rise and fall of Jesse.
So, all right, why don't you start it off? I'll update our Twitch info. We're not playing Fortnite, but it says we are.
We can get all the Fortnite fans in here and get them watching the
group. Oh, hey, it'd be good, I think, if we could just get Drake on this podcast. He's from Canada.
Yeah, I was going to say. Right. It's a real good
crossover. Exactly. Some synergy.
Yeah, so the week starts out. We have Ryan sitting out of the HOH as the outgoing head of household. We have Erica sitting out of the HOH challenge because she was not selected as a pair in the pre-part of the competition. And we have people in boxes rolling around gathering fruit.
Yeah, classic Big Brother challenge. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but we're doing it.
Yeah, and they're playing in pairs, which is always interesting, because it kind of gives you an insight as to like who actually wants to be HOH. There's like additional layers of strategy
Mm,
on it where, like if you don't want your partner to be HOH, where you might like want to
yeah.
throw it. You have cases where, like especially with this competition, where like Olivia, for instance, was actively trying to like block other people from winning the competition rather than trying to win
Mm.
it herself. But yeah, we get Hamza and Plur
Plur. Yeah.
winning the winning the HOH competition.
Yeah, and then Plur concedes to Hamza, and boy, howdy, we are in for a week, Ben.
Yeah, this is what everyone a week and a half ago was saying was like the best case scenario for entertaining feeds, and boy oh boy was it entertaining.
Hey, Ben, does
uh,
everyone just want good TV?
is that what they want?
I enjoyed that, bringing them back for the HOH competition. But we'll continue on with this one. So kind of lay out what Hamza's original plan was. Then we'll kind of talk through that, and then I think we can kind of break down where that went wrong and how we ended up where we were on this eviction night.
Okay, well, going into the HOH competition, Hamza's plan was to go after the
Mm-hmm.
showmance. But after he won HOH, that kind of shifted where he was getting people like Will in his
Mm-hmm.
ear about like just going after Liv and Allie.
Right.
And um, and so it seemed like he ended up in a position where he was kind of like hedging between those two plans because what basically happened is like it was like an iteration where every single day Hamza would come up with a plan and that plan would get disseminated, and then because the plan was disseminated, he like wouldn't find that plan to be like a big move anymore because everyone saw it
It's just
coming,
like, oh,
and
that's
so he
so
wanted
last 4 hours ago.
exactly
That's
right,
awesome.
and so he just randomly changed his mind to something else.
Truly a
So
wild card.
at a certain point, he was just gonna put the showmance up, and then he was just gonna put Liv and
Mm-hmm.
Allie up, and then at a certain point, he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna put. I want to do like a backdoor thing, so I want to put Jesse on the
Mm-hmm.
block, not as a target, but as somebody who he can count on as being a strong POV player, so that when Jesse wins the veto, he can backdoor somebody like Ryan, which was his original plan, but not to get Ryan out. His original like solid plan was to put up Liv and Jesse with like Liv as the target and then Jesse there so that when Jesse won the veto he could put Ryan on the block just to piss Ryan off.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. That's not what a backdoor is, right? A backdoor is when you have a target, don't put them on the block, and then veto them up, right? Okay,
Correct.
so he's just being like too cute, honestly.
Sure.
I mean, it doesn't make sense. Like the one thing you're supposed to not do is piss people off.
Yeah, it's you think.
I mean,
That's if you're trying to win
yeah,
the
I'm
game.
no like 6D chess player like Hamza is clearly, but
Well, you're able to beat Hamza in 6G chess though. I predict
that's true. I know I can read him like a book. I can't read Ryan. I haven't seen as much Big Brother as him, but oh man. So this is
You've seen more feeds than him.
that
though.
is true. I do enjoy the feeds, especially when you're just like working on something that's not like too intensive. You can just check them out.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, go get a Liquid 8's BB viewer app, and you can watch the feeds as well. It's a very
Yep.
well done app, I must say.
Yeah, it's very good. It's really great. He's a great member of the Big Brother community.
Definitely not doing illegal stuff, but that's okay.
I mean, it's all
Right.
relative.
Basically, it's like if you guys gave us a legal option, we'd probably pay for it. But
Yeah, I would 100% pay for it.
BB
Yeah.
Can doesn't do that, so we're forced to find
Right,
our own
our
rules.
hands are
Exactly.
forced.
So, anyway,
I would love to pay like $5 a month to watch Big Brother Canada online with the feeds and with like supporting
Hmm.
global, but you know
Oh man.
I can't.
Anyways, so we get the nominations. They are Olivia and Jesse, and so far so good. Plan is in place. Plan get Olivia out and piss off Ryan. Roaring success to this point.
Yeah, and then some things change. Well, let's we should probably talk about why
Okay.
Jesse, why Jesse,
Why Jesse?
and we saw like the building blocks of why
Hmm.
Jesse on the Wednesday episode, but they didn't really explain, or like maybe it was a Sunday episode, the one where they did the newlywed game
Right.
with the showmances, the quote unquote
That
showmances, where
was
it was like 2.5
right.
showmances, and then Marin and Erica for some reason. Um, so basically, when Dela and Marin and Erica uh, lost that
Hmm.
competition, uh, Hamza basically promised Dela because Erica was already immune, um, and he was never going to put up Marin because Marin's his
Right.
buddy. Um, basically promised Dela that he wasn't going to nominate them because they were
Hmm.
have-nots. And so, how are you supposed to target the showmance, or at least like rattle the showmance, quote unquote, without actually putting them up? Well, you put up their friend
Right.
Jesse.
So he wanted to rattle them. Is what you say?
He he wanted to put up somebody who was a like quote unquote big
Mm,
target, but who wasn't somebody he had already previously promised that he wouldn't put up. And he had already promised he wouldn't put up pretty much everybody in the
mm,
house. He actually also promised he wouldn't put up Jesse, but I guess he forgot about
mm.
that.
Yeah. At this point, he's just too many promises.
Yeah. And he promised on his fiance
Yes.
Carolyn,
Okay. So that
and
is a
then he forgot
very
that he had.
interesting point because he
Yeah.
did that. Right. That's 100% legit. We have it on film.
Right. Well, we have it on
Feeds. Yeah.
it happened
Right.
twice. So they showed on the show the second time that
Hmm.
it happened. He promised with like Jesse and Derek in the room. He promised that on his fiance, like totally unprovoked,
Right.
that he would keep them safe and that he wanted to
But then
work
he
with
went
them.
back on that.
Right. But they showed the second part where he like kind of with Derek, he kind of reaffirmed that promise, and Derek was like trying to reaffirm the promise on Carolyn, and for some reason only that part stuck in Hamza's head, and I guess that part also only stuck in the editor's head too.
Right.
Uh, and so Jesse and Derek and Kayla and Paris and all these people who are saying that Hamza is like a nutcase who's freaking out over something that he
Hmm.
did, they are actually in the
Right.
right. But the show is making Hamza look like the victim here.
Uh, Unbelievable. So we go to the veto competition, and Hamza wins.
Yeah,
Jesse, close but no cigar. All right, but it's fine because Hamza is going to take Jesse off the block, right, Ben?
I mean that was the plan until
Until
until Johnny and Will decided that was not the
right.
plan,
So
and they got
let's
Hamza
do a
to
comparison
not
here.
decide.
How responsible are Johnny and Will for convincing Hamza versus how much credit did they get?
Um, well, it's tricky. It's tricky to decide whether they were directly responsible for Hamza not using the
Mhm.
veto, but they were 100% responsible. Johnny especially for Jesse being evicted over Olivia after the
Right.
veto was not used.
Gotcha.
Trying to convince Hamza to like make a decision is like very very
Mhm.
difficult. Hamza did not like make that like the the reason that was presented on the show for why he didn't use the veto was like kind of confusing because they only showed part of the
Right.
interaction. Like I don't know if you're familiar with like what happened in the background, but like what did you get from the show as to why he didn't use the veto?
I think just generally, like you said, with his, well, I don't know. It's hard to say because I do listen to live feed updates, so
Okay.
I know there's like a door
Right.
slammed and kind of like
Yeah.
misunderstanding and all this stuff. So it's hard to like pay attention when they're not showing that stuff. You know what I mean? Because like this isn't
Right.
really what happened. But I think they didn't really portray the small stuff that led up to Jesse, eventually becoming the target so well. And I thought especially so in this episode, they didn't really explain why his alliance kind of completely bailed on him and didn't really seem to be campaigning on his behalf or anything.
Yeah, well, the issue was that at that point it was already solidified because Johnny had gotten to Will, who had them both gotten to Veronica, and like even though Veronica didn't actually vote for
Olivia.
for Jesse to be evicted, and we'll get to that. That's a big issue going into next week.
Yeah.
Or going into this week.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk to you about that because I don't know why she did that.
Oh,
okay.
And she handled it really poorly as well.
What?
And
Veronica handling
We'll get
something
to it.
poorly? That's crazy, Ben.
Yeah, Veronica being a like awful, disturbingly bad Big Brother player.
I can't believe, like, I'm just real happy we got her instead of the super fan,
Yeah, I know. She's probably gonna go out and I mean, no spoilers.
Yeah. Sorry.
She's not. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna. You want to talk about?
Oh, we will at the end for sure.
Okay, but like, she's definitely doing way better than Kirsten would have done. For 100%.
Yeah, good job, Canada.
Yeah. She's an angel too. She's like, talking about all kinds of like weird sex stuff and twerking on the wall.
Yeah, I can't wait till someone makes
plastered.
a supercut of that. Like Angel.
Canada's Angel.
I mean, there's obviously, like, I don't think you and I have a problem with people doing that stuff. It's just funny that it's
ironic.
Yeah. So don't come at us. Don't come for our weaves regarding this. It's just funny.
Yeah, and like talking about how she was a mean girl in high school and stuff like that. Anyways, let's get back to why Jesse got rejected.
So yeah, let's tell the viewers the real reason.
So Johnny is
who I'm a huge fan of. Just want to say,
Johnny is fantastic. Like watching him work in the house, like gives me goosebumps. Honestly, like he's just a fantastic, like very strong manipulator. He'll just like have a conversation with somebody, and their like entire perspective will change. And they won't even realize it's because of the conversation.
Yeah. And I know, like, I was tough on him that first week when I was like, just make the deal. But, he knows what he's doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Johnny's would be a much better Big Brother player than I would.
Yeah. No, I think that if Johnny, like, keeps this going and ends up winning this season, the conversation about him being, like, the best Big Brother Canada player of all time should probably come up.
We're a little ahead of ourselves, but I'm excited.
Oh, of course. Like, it's week 4. But it's just like Johnny is like a very good player.
Anyway, so Jesse.
Yeah. So the reason that Johnny basically spends a ton of his social capital to get Jesse evicted is because the plan from earlier in the week before the veto happened, where Hamza is originally putting Jesse on the block because he's a strong competitor and he needs to like have somebody up there who's going to win the veto so he can pull off one of these backdoor but not backdoor plans that he's planning. Right. He tells Jesse about this plan. He gives him a heads up. And Jesse says, well, I mean, why does it have to be me who's put on the block as a strong competitor? Why can't you put up Johnny? Johnny's won 2 competitions. I haven't won any.
So it's Johnny's
and
like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Johnny, this gets back to Johnny. And, of course, Johnny is 100% now on the get Jesse the hell out of this house.
And it's a fair place to be. Like, don't be throwing my name out. What the hell?
Right. Yeah. It's just kind of, especially when you're like quote unquote supposed to be in the
Yeah.
seven alliance, right? So yeah, that gets back to Johnny. Johnny then puts in a ton of work to get basically the entire like White Room Alliance flipped. Instead of voting out Olivia, he gets people like Will, Veronica, Maddie all on board with taking Jesse out. When for pretty much all of them, it's a terrible move. Like maybe not Will, it's not that terrible, but especially for Veronica and Maddie, um, this decision is 100% coming back to bite them right now. So it's yeah, it's bad. It's bad decision, and Johnny convinces them all to go for it with pretty much no resistance.
Right. And it's just, I honestly was a little like afraid of this alliance when it was formed, because I was like, oh, there are a lot of strong players in this. They might just run the season, but that's kind of like the beauty of Big Brother. Where just like 1 week where someone in your alliance doesn't win HOH can literally break everything up.
Are you talking about the seven or the real
Yeah,
deal?
this.
Or I guess the
Yeah,
seven.
yeah. He's just like, it's just so good.
The thing about the seven though is like it was almost immediately broken up anyways because of Paris driving a wedge between Ali and Olivia and Dela. And we'll get to because that's still because that wedge being driven was blamed on Maddie. That's like a lot of the like stuff that's going to be driving what happens next week, or what's happening this week.
Present day. All right, so we'll Johnny puts in work, convinces Hamza. Don't use that veto, Hamza.
Yeah.
And Hamza doesn't use the veto, and then immediately Jesse is like, whoa, time out. Which I don't think I've ever seen in my like brief history of watching Big Brother. Someone just interrupting the veto ceremony after it doesn't get used. Like it's usually a little bit after, if anything, or during it, you know? It's like at that point the cat's out of the bag, like the veto's in the box essentially, and you're gonna interrupt just him saying this this veto ceremony is adjourned. But I was living for it. I love that shit.
Yeah, Jesse, like on his way out the door, was great. Gave us way more than Olivia gave us the first 3 weeks.
Shots.
Olivia's great right now, to be fair, but up to that point, Jesse was giving us way more, in my opinion.
So we see some campaigning. Jesse goes to Hamza and is like, "Look, I'll literally do whatever you want. Just keep me in the house." Which I think. Yeah, that's pretty much his only play at that point. And Hamza seems like he's a little bit intrigued on the show. Can you kind of talk like, was Hamza ever truly considering this?
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a point where Hamza considered putting up Derek as the backdoor option, but that didn't last very long. And so, like, this idea of him targeting the showmans is still in his head. So it is a good pitch to give to him, but I think that, like, one, it's very difficult to give a pitch at this point, especially to Hamza. And two, even if you can convince Hamza, Hamza's not the one making the decision, so it doesn't really matter.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, that's true. No, that's true. I mean, they even said it, like, I think Paris said it, like, Hamza doesn't control who goes home. And I was like, yeah, okay, so do something. And then she didn't really do anything. She's like, yeah, he doesn't control who goes home, but there's no room to maneuver here, so he does.
Well, the issue is that Jesse didn't realize that Will was the one he needed to pitch to, Will and Johnny, but mostly Will, until it was too late.
So, did we see the slamming door? I can't remember.
No, we saw the apology for the slamming door, but not the slamming door. And they brought up because Jesse and Derek had the conversation in the storage room where like Derek was telling him to go apologize, but like if you're just watching the show, it's very unclear like what Jesse is supposed to be apologizing for.
Right.
I guess like it's supposed to be like apologizing for the Carolyn thing, but that's not what the apology is about. It's very strange. Like the whole way that it was edited and the sequencing of it is very strange.
Yeah, and it's complicated by the fact that they literally love to show doors closing. But for every transition, I was like, wait, are these show? Okay, no.
Blink and you'll miss it.
Exactly. Oh, man. So we get to the eviction ceremony, and all but 2 people vote to evict Jesse.
Yeah, after a thrilling last.
Oh, right, pitch, yeah. That was cool.
Amazing to watch on the feeds. Like when I turned the feeds on and that was happening, like right before, and then like I watched right until the feeds cut when the eviction was happening. Yep. It was like super fantastic.
How close was like to the airing of the show? Were the feeds on until?
Like 4 hours.
So that was happening like right around that time.
Yeah, it was legitimately right before.
That's cool. So was there like a question at that point? Like, oh my God, is this going to happen?
I mean, it was unclear because the feeds cut before like any kind of like firm decision was going to be happening. Right. But it was like the vote flipping was reliant upon like Johnny being one of those votes, and Johnny was never going to be one of those votes.
So really, it was for naught.
Yeah, I mean, it was entertaining, but at that point, it was too little, too late.
Fair, yeah. So, Plur doesn't vote to evict Jesse.
Yeah,
but Paris does.
We have right. And I mean, part of the reason is because now Veronica is blaming it on Paris, or trying to. She's tried to. She's failed because she's a terrible liar who doesn't understand how Big Brother works. But
how dare you?
Right? Yeah, she's 100% responsible. We can get into the spoilers now, right?
Yeah. All right. Everybody, Jesse got evicted. That was that. We played an HOH that included, it was like wax statues, but they actually brought the real people in to recreate famous moments, which was Ika shredding the letters. God, I forgot her name. Sabrina asking if people want good TV, which is just like a transcendent moment, I feel like, even out of the show. I know that was probably the first thing I ever heard about Big Brother Canada was this moment.
Yeah, I'd say those two moments are probably two of the first things you'd hear about.
And then Kevin, the winner from last season, surviving the triple eviction when he didn't survive on his first season. Is that accurate? All right.
Yep.
Cool. I can pretend to know what I'm talking about. Dope.
That's him like falling down after winning the veto comp and saving himself during the triple eviction.
Awesome, and he comped out, so.
Yeah, that was his first of his like 7 comp run or something.
So they get to study the moments, and then they have to answer questions about it. And I think these are always like really funny competitions, because sometimes like it's literally like the first question, and like one person gets it right and everyone gets it wrong, and it's like, oh, you're the HOH, woo! And then sometimes
I wouldn't know about that.
No, certainly not. Reaper Reality, go subscribe, see what we're talking about. But but this one, they asked a few questions. Marin and was it Will got knocked out, and that's it. That's all we get to see.
Yeah, even though this competition like takes 10 minutes, 5 minutes to finish, we're not going to see the conclusion until Monday night.
So let's go in full spoiler talk. Check out if you have to. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Thank you for watching. And Ben, what is happening?
Well, we have the winner of that HOH competition that we should probably have known was Erica, who is now immune for the 4th straight
Erica
week.
Killing it. Absolutely killing it, actually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, half of those weeks she was immune were like basically random.
But the other half she won them. So
right.
I don't know. I like Erica a lot.
Yeah, Erica is a very interesting player. She has a lot of good intuition, but like a lot of her decisions are kind of based off of incomplete information. And right now, it's basically an arms race between Johnny, Paris, and Kayla, who are the big three strategic manipulators in the house, trying to push Erica in a certain direction.
All right, where's Johnny trying to push her?
Johnny is trying to get Marin evicted. Right now, what we have the nominations happened late last night. Erica nominated Marin and Maddie, and Maddie is her target. Gotcha. But Maddie is not the house.
Right. So it doesn't really matter. unless she somehow spirals out of control like Jesse this week.
Yeah, I'm very nervous with my winner pick on the block. However, it looks like she is probably only the third most likely person to get evicted.
All right. So who would you say is the first?
I think that Marin is most likely to get evicted at this point.
And who is the second?
The second is Veronica, because Veronica has pissed off pretty much everybody in the house. Right. And we have Paris, Allie, Olivia, and Kayla all heavily pushing for a Veronica backdoor.
All right, so what do you think the chances that this actually happens are? Because you said Veronica was playing pretty poorly.
Yeah. I think at this point, probably 50-50.
Gotcha. So could we end up with both of the angels on the block this week?
We could.
That would be public.
This would be a slap in the face to Canada. Yeah, I mean, I think that right now the issue is that Johnny does not want Veronica to go. Johnny's priority in getting these people out is Marin first, and then Maddie is like kind of a loose second, and then Veronica. He does not want to go on the block. He does not want the backdoor to happen. And Johnny has a lot of influence. Right. So
what is it about Marin that Johnny doesn't like / wants out?
Johnny does not like how close Marin is to a lot of people, particularly Hamza and Will as well, sort of. He thinks that Marin is in a very good position to kind of float down to the end, and Marin is in a very good position to float down to the end. So Johnny is just aware that Marin's social positioning in the house is the most threatening to him right now, and he wants Veronica in the house as a meat shield in front of him because everyone hates her.
Why? She's an angel.
And a lot of people... Yeah, I mean, she's an angel who is like constantly lying to everybody about this stupid hinky vote that she threw for no reason. And she's doing it very poorly because she's a bad liar, and everyone is like seeing right through it. And, you know, she's having these kind of like passive aggressive conversations with Erica where Erica is like, you know, it'd be really awful if somebody threw that vote out and then started lying to everyone about it and like didn't fess up. And really, I think that person should probably go home this week. And Veronica's like, yeah, that person would be awful. They should go home 100%. And Erica's just kind of like nodding her head at her, like, yeah,
she should. Poor.
Yeah. that person should go home. And you know, she's having a conversation with her saying, you know, Veronica saying to Erica, listen, I've never lied to you ever. Like, I've never said a single lie to you at all. And Erica's like, yeah, you've for sure never lied to me right to my face. So it's just real great.
Oh man,
real great look for her.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. So if you had to guess right now, who's getting evicted?
I am very afraid to bet against Johnny, so I'm gonna go Marin. I think that Marin is the most likely person to get evicted, and then Veronica's a close second.
I'll agree with you. I think Marin as well. Like you said, if Johnny's going for it, there's a better chance than not.
Yeah. However, I did have a weird dream last night where Derek was back.
Oh! What?
So if you wanna like maybe I should put my my stamp approval on that weird fever dream.
That'd be pretty great if you guessed
because,
it and then he went out and then it's like, oh my god, this show curses all the house guests.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Did you appreciate Derek not knowing who anyone was in that competition?
I mean, it was like entertaining insofar as that, like, I mean, it was kind of like, was it last season, BB19 or something, where like Kevin, because Kevin was like, "Who's Nicole?" Something
That was
like
funny.
that.
But then he knew Derek, which is extra funny. So it completely throws everyone off.
Right. You knew Derek because he was at the open casting call that I was also at, where Derek was
Me too.
there.
We went together.
Yeah, we
It
did.
was a fun time. We met some swell folks. We saw Kevin, but did not talk to him.
Yeah, he was leaning up against the like window in a suit, just looking extra fly.
We definitely should have invited him to our Misfit Alliance group, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that guy, I said that guy is no shot to get in the show.
Hey, man, it makes me feel better when we went to audition for Survivor and met Dan Foley in line right ahead of us. I think we left, and my first words were, that guy's never going to get on the show. So, as long as we think you have no chance, you're guaranteed.
Right. So come to us with your, like, casting...
tapes and
like preparation tapes, and we'll tell you, nope, you don't have a single shot, and you'll get on guaranteed.
Oh man! All right, is there anything else we want to talk about before we sign off for today?
Well, we could talk about Paris also like put in a lot of good work with a bunch of different people. Paris has kind of turned her game around after Jesse got evicted, and she's actually kind of aware of this. She said that like Jesse getting evicted was great for her.
Certainly takes a large target off her back.
Right, but it also kind of like lets her play a looser game, and her strategy going forward is to basically emulate Paul in BB19, where he is like the third wheel in a bunch of pairs, and they all think that she's the legitimate third wheel. And so far, she's getting away with it, but she also like kind of screwed up already previously, so it's like not out of the question that she could screw up again. But right now, she's not a target. And right now, even though she did screw up, a lot of her screw up ended up landing on Maddie, which is why Maddie is a target.
Right, and I think that's a great strategy, but a lot of the reason Paul was able to pull it off, one, this is probably an unpopular opinion, Paul is a very good player. I know people hate him now. I don't hate Paul, but I know people really don't like him anymore. But also, Paul had the added benefit of being like the only veteran in a house of newbies, which kind of let him more easily. Because, like it or not, like, as someone who played a fake version of Survivor with returning players, there's some bit of gravity there that, like, you don't want to admit it to yourself. You certainly are like, if I ever get on a show, I'll never, like, go with the returning player. But it just happens. Like, they're just, like, either likable or you are a bit, like, starstruck by it and you end up working with them. So it's a hard move to pull as a newbie with newbies.
Yeah, and we'll see if she can pull it off, especially because Paul had also the additional benefit of being in a house full of really poor players.
Fair.
And this house is full of actually a handful of decent players. Johnny is very good. Kayla is very strong. Even Allie has turned around her game a lot.
Ryan's top 10 player.
Right. Of course.
He was pretty much invisible this week.
Ryan's, I mean, listen, for like as much as I was like kind of ragging on Ryan, he's looking good to kind of go deep into this game. And my winner pick is on the block right now, so.
Hey, man, you know, you just gotta stay woke on Ryan. I've been woke since the minute I saw him on my screen.
Listen, it's I could see a scenario where Ryan wins the game. So
Yeah, you're right. He's gonna do it.
I think that he could easily coast to like 5th or 6th place if he can somehow comp out from there. Which like there are a lot of mental competitions, so if he actually like studies and puts the work in, he could comp out and like win 3 comps or something like that. And then a lot of people see him as like this manipulative mastermind, even though he's not, because he's like talks so much like garbage.
He's spoken into being.
Right, exactly. And he's, I mean, he obviously, we didn't hit upon the drama from yesterday with the prank.
Ooh, all right, let's talk about prank real quick.
So yesterday we had another Hasbro game where Erica had to select half of the house to go up into her HOH room and play a Hasbro game with her. And I think it was Allie, Olivia, Maddie, Ryan, and Johnny were the people she selected. And while the 6 of them were in the in the HOH room playing this game, whatever it is, the people down below decided that they were going to prank them. And this was like spearheaded by Hamza and Veronica. Or I don't know if it was spearheaded by them, but they were definitely the most vocal people about it afterwards.
Right.
And this prank involved like messing with people's clothes and saran wrapping all of their belongings, and most importantly, putting Cheerios and shredded wheat into their beds and grapes into their pillowcases.
Classic.
Yeah, it's a prank, bro.
It's just a prank. This couldn't, piss anyone off ever, and yeah.
Right. This definitely did not, piss off Allie and Olivia to the point where they are now actively trying to get Veronica evicted. Definitely did not do that. Definitely didn't piss off Ryan to the point where he is like now being super passive aggressive and like yeah. It's weird. It's weird because both Hamza and Veronica were like the faces of this, and like if anybody was being more of a baby about people being irritated by the prank, it was Hamza. Hamza was talking about like going after people and attacking them because they were annoyed and just being like a total dick about it, really. Like he was way more annoyed that people were upset than people were annoyed that the prank happened.
Hey,
But Veronica's getting all the backlash.
I mean, I was playing that 40 chess, right?
Yeah, he's I don't know, he's just not a good person.
I thought you were gonna say player, and then that when he's a person, it really that's hilarious.
He's not a good player either. At least he's not trying to be a good player.
Hey, that's Sequester alum. Hamza to you, Ben.
Yeah, he's like a 14th, 15th place in Sequester.
I don't know. Yeah, he seems like someone who'd be an early boot in that game.
Oh, he was an early. I can't remember which place he came in though. He was like first or second out, I think.
Well, he's trying his best to replicate that. This is not working.
He's doing a very bad job of trying to lose the game actively.
Oh man. All right. Well, I think that's good. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we'll be back here next week to talk about Marin, Veronica, or Maddie getting evicted, or Derek.
We're gonna try to actually be live on Friday for once, instead of Saturday, because I feel like we'll have a better chance of having people watch us during the evening on Friday than on Saturday. But in all fairness, once it's on the channel, it's there forever, so people can go back and check it out.
Right, and also like a lot of the episodes are fresher in our minds. Right, I mean, I don't know. I think you watch them kind of like after they're
it's hard because on Thursdays Jenny streams and I kind of like monitor everything for there.
Right,
so
right,
it's
of
like,
course.
oh god, I want to watch it, but I'll try to like have the episode up in a corner while watching the chat the chat in the stream next Thursday.
Right.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you follow Ben. What's your Twitter, Ben?
It's just at Ben Sharon, BenSharron. I do a lot of tweeting about
Yes,
Paperless
it's very
Canada.
good. I learned most of the stuff I know from Ben's Twitter, so I'm somewhat up to date. And I'm the fake BMar. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
See you.